everybody, I'm Lisette. Welcome back to week 5 of MPA 510. Today I will be discussing the main points of my paper where I will be comparing and contrasting the foundational theories and concepts from the foundings of our country all the way up to the 1950s. So let's get started. Quick overview about what I will be discussing: the organizing and the system concepts by Daniel Katz and Robert L. Kahn, as well as the American systems by Morton Croutzins, and as well as the life cycle of bureaus by Anthony Down. And I will be comparing them to some of our founding concepts. Overall, what I think is that the American system shines a light on the bridge being created by federalism and the chaos of the American government discussed in the American systems. It is important to create a system to reinvent what we're living today, and it would make it easier for everybody to locate the daily duties of each agency. So I think we're in desperate need of something happening there. It is also essential to the success of agencies that we are constantly reinventing the organizations and these systems and give a more modern approach needed for success. And I think the organization and the system concepts also shine light on that as well. And last but not least, I think that the life cycle brews gives us an in-depth explanation of how departments come about and how their functionality comes about, and the importance of us having honest people in power and not just having anybody that would take advantage of that. So those are some of the key points in my paper this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good Like I mentioned in my paper, as public agencies and federal agencies grow, so do the conflicts within politics, administration, and the intertwining of both. Morton Croutzins seemed to actually understand that the constant mingling and the creation of different agencies to make decisions and to share or award funds was creating a mixture of confusion. And to this day, it still really is creating a mixture of confusion amongst everyday members of society. We don't understand if we should be going to our local government to complain about roads, like our reading mentioned, or where to actually go or what to actually do to get a hold of somebody to take care of our day-to-day problems. Morton Croutzins kind of touched upon the chaos that is becoming our government, and I think that it is important to date back to when our founding fathers were actually trying to keep separation of power between the states and the federal agencies, just so not one agency would have too much power. But now that has actually led to a very complicated system where one needs to tell the other to get anything done, and where the federal agencies have more power, but they don't have all the power. And Organization in the Systems concept by Daniel Katz and Robert L. Kahn did a great job of kind of adding on to Taylorism, the early theory that provided public administrators with a system that would give us production efficiency and a needed breakdown to smaller tasks that would be simple enough to teach others, was kind of complicated for us at the same time. So organizations and the systems was actually a positive way of saying you need skill sets, but there are many ways to finish a job or to go about a certain task, or it just has focus on these smaller agencies that we already have in place in the 1950s. So I think it did a great job of that, adding on to Taylor. The in-depth explanation of the life cycle of brews did a great job of explaining how brews come to life, how they go downhill, how there's separation of different agencies. So how the death of a brew can be associated to just people running them poorly. And that led to the idea of me understanding as a person and as a public administrator why our founding fathers felt the need to bring about the Pendleton Act and to associate it with the success of our agencies, because they feared that people would just be giving a position of power by knowing somebody in power and not actually having a skill set, which we haven't always completely avoided.